Welcome guys, Darren here again with another box review. This time I'm reviewing a box of 1996 Pinnacle Racer's Choice racing cards. And these cards are basically what Pinnacle created for the score equivalent for racing when they got into it in 1996. And these cards are, unfortunately, they're a lot more like score. I mean, they're really kind of strange cards because the cards themselves, they have a little checker pattern on the side here. It's a black border, but they have this tear with the checker behind image of the player, difficult to read text down below. It is, it's really not a great card. It's weird how high gloss this card is, though. I mean, it really is a very strange feeling to a card, which is an interesting trait that these cards have. But these are not expensive cards at all. And it was interesting because the box has 36 packs in it, 16 cards per pack, which is a lot. And that means that out of it, I got 3 complete sets. And then I got 4 cards shy of a fourth set, along with a whole bunch of doubles. And I got doubles of every single of the race, the significant cards of race card drivers. So I'll just run through them right now. I got 3 Rusty Wallace regular cards and 4 of his car, and then 3 of his races. With Dale Earnhardt, I got 1, 2, 3 of his regular card. I got 2 of his car, and then he had a whole series of cards for him, and then some races, and then these are separate. Mark Martin, 1 extra of his regular card, 2 of his car, 3 of his race, 2 of his Busch Clash checklist. Jeff Gordon, I got 2 doubles. Again, this is after 3 sets complete. 2 of his regular cards, 1 of his car, a whole bunch of his little series of cards, his race win, his Busch Clash, and then his checklist. And same thing with Dale Jarrett and with Bill Elliott and with Bobby Labonte, just tons and tons of these cards. And so it was kind of weird because I'm going through the box, I finish a set, and I finish another set, and I just get all these extra cards. And that was kind of the disappointment of it. It's a strange disappointment because I got so much of this stuff, none of it I knew was of much value. But really the big problem is the fact that the cards just are not a good design. So they were boring. And another thing about the cards is, for the most part, they came out in turn. They were stuck together, but they came apart pretty cleanly. Except these cards have a really strange fuzziness around the outside. So, like right up here, there's a slight abrasion around it, and some of the cards, you probably can't see it, but right along the edge here, there's some it's not chipping, but it's just some extra stuff that's actually dark in color, which is probably from the process of making the cards. So the cards all felt cheaply cut, kind of cheaply made, even though they feel really really smooth and well made. So it was kind of weird. But this is, the set itself is built in, it's got a couple of different categories. So first off, you have the driver cards, and the driver cards are premier drivers and then some up-and-comers. Then they have the cars for each of the drivers. They also have individual race wins for drivers. Usually the driver only has 1 of these. And then they have the Busch Clash, which is basically how many poles different drivers were able to get. And the checklist, there were 2 checklists, 2 with Mark Martin, 1 with Jeff Gordon, or 2 checklists, 1 with Mark Martin, 1 with Jeff Gordon. And they also had 3 cards for the 3 different companies making cars. So they had Pontiac, Ford, and Chevrolet. They also had a couple of cards of officials, which was kind of unusual. And then they closed out the set with rookie Johnny Benson, a couple of cards of his. And that was the way that the set was constructed. So it wasn't, there was lots of stuff, but again, the cards didn't read very well. But this was Pinnacle, and they had a lot of inserts. First off, they had two parallels. So their trophy collection equivalent was called, get this right, Speedway Reflections, and this is kind of a chrome, a silver chrome finish of the card. So it doesn't have any defects, doesn't have any refractive quality, and the cards do look really good because now all of a sudden everything's bold and the images are really vibrant. Of these, Bobby Labonte was the only one I got of note. I did get a, let's see, what was it? I think that's Bill Elliott's car. I got another Bobby Labonte from his series of cards. Oh yeah, I need to go back and mention about that. But I got those, and then their artist proof was same thing, except they have kind of a, I guess it's supposed to be kind of a bronze. It's kind of a peach color. But I got one of Jeff Gordon's series of cards in there, and then I got a Sterling Marlin card, the same. So that turned out really well. And then they have a set of 20 racers reviews, and this appears to come from this same series. So I got a Dale Earnhardt and I got a Bobby Labonte, so that was pretty cool. And then there was one top 10s. I got Ricky Rudd of that. That's a 10 card insert set. And so I got all of these at exactly the right rate in the packs. They all came out in pretty good shape. But I did mention about how there were series of cards, which I forgot to mention, and there were 5 drivers. So Dale Earnhardt was one of them, and they had this series of cards with 5 designs. So here's the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and the 5th one. And so this is just a little subset within the set, and I think that those Racer's Choice cards were the same ones that were kind of dressed up with defects. And so with Jeff Gordon, here's the first one, and then the second one, and then the third one, and the fourth and the 5th one. So this is the series that each one of these these drivers had. Bobby Labonte had one, Ted Musgrave had one, and Sterling Marlin had a series. So in one of the sets, I'll show you that you go through after the cars themselves. Then you get your Jeff Gordon was the 95 champion, so that was his 5 cards. Then the Intimidator is next. And then they have Ted Musgrave, who was, I guess, up and coming at the time. And then they had Bobby Labonte, who was showing he was pretty good. And then you had Sterling Marlin, who was another vet who was doing really well. So those cards, I like the fact that those were in the set. That was a good part of the set because you got kind of a focus on some of the drivers. So again, I had Bobby Labonte here in the silver, and then I had Marlin and Jeff Gordon of those in the artist proof. And then here with this set, I assume that it's either missing Ted Musgrave or Marlin. I can't tell you because the Beckett doesn't mention these, so I don't know. But that was pretty much it. It really wasn't that exciting, except I do like all the inserts that I got, the inserts and the parallels. But boy, I got a lot of sets, and so that's something that can happen with racing. The fact they had so many packs or so many cards in each pack was what really did it. But that's what this box is like. So that was my experience with it. It was a retail, so this was this was not the hobby. But yeah, so that's how it went. Yeah, so thank you guys very much for watching.